lovely souls, and welcome back to Faith in the Valley with DQ. Wherever you are in the world, I hope that you are well. So, in today's story, I want to introduce you to a lady called Jacqueline. And Jacqueline is in her 60s and she has been walking through her own healing journey alone, and with a quiet, determined faith that has only deepened as she has been travelling through. And so her recovery has been slow, her emotions have been raw, and yet God has met her right where she is in the middle of her stillness. So, this is Jacqueline's story in her own words. And Jacqueline, thank you so much for reaching out to me to share your story. I've always been active. I walk a lot, do my gardening, and keep my flat tidy. But about 5 months ago, I slipped outside my local post office. It was raining, and at first I didn't know or see the moss that was on the pavement. I lost my footing and came down hard, mostly on my left side. At first I thought it was fine. I was embarrassed, of course, but I stood up, brushed myself off, and carried on doing my errands. But that night, the pain really became unbearable, and the pain started to radiate from my hip. I couldn't lift my leg without wincing. After some x-rays and scans, the doctors told me that I had torn the soft tissue near my hip joint. No surgery was needed, but it was a long and careful recovery ahead. I was told to avoid stairs, that I had to rest often, and to stop walking long distances. And just like that, my normal life slowed down to a painful crawl. What no one talks about is how quiet healing can be, especially when you live alone. The loneliness for me was loud. I would look up at my kettle and I would wonder to myself how I would get it from the counter to the table without spilling it. I cried when I dropped a sock on the floor and I couldn't bend down to pick it up. I felt useless, alone, and invisible. My friends checked in on me at first, but the reality is that people have lives, and the calls became less frequent. One morning, after crying in frustration, while trying to put my sock on, I whispered aloud, "God, I feel forgotten." And right there in my small kitchen, with the window cracked open, I could hear the sound of birds, and I felt a deep stillness in that moment. I didn't hear a voice, and it wasn't a miracle that suddenly appeared. It was just stillness, a reassuring stillness. And I remembered this scripture from Isaiah 46 verse 4. Even to your old age and grey hairs, I am He. I am He who will sustain you. That verse carried me in the slowest of seasons. I had never experienced anything like this before in my life. I started keeping my Bible near my bed, and I began to open it every morning before doing anything else. On some days, I only read a single verse. On some days, I just sat down and played soft worship music, and I just breathed. Healing became less about getting better and more about letting God hold the pieces of me that felt weak, impatient, and ashamed. I started to journal every day, to take note of how I was feeling. And one day I wrote a line, and I could hear God saying to me that He was still there. The line that I wrote was, God, I'm still here, traveling through this season. And despite my pain and discomfort, you are still good. That became my go-to lines. That regardless of what was happening, God is still good. Eventually, I noticed that I could stand stronger. The limp I had was a bit softer, and the pain didn't scream as much, it whispered. But most of all, I noticed that my faith had deepened. Not because everything was better and that I was 100%, but because I knew that God had not left me alone. Even in the slow, quiet valley, God is still there, and God is still good. So, to the woman listening to this, who feels like healing has been taken away from you, or as if everything else has been taken away, remember that you are not broken, you are not too slow, and you are not forgotten. God has not forgotten about you. You are loved, and it says in Psalms 147 verse 3, He heals the broken-hearted and binds up their wounds. If you've only moved 1 inch forward for today, it's still movement. If you've cried more than you've prayed, God still counts every single one of your tears. You're not weak for needing help. You're strong for staying in the valley. And while you stay in the valley long enough, God will meet you right where you are. I am healing, and so are you. I hope this story has encouraged you. Well, my friends, I don't know about you, but for me, I am grateful for Jacqueline's story. And there's something that she said that sat with me, and it's the realization that healing can feel so quiet, and that we don't talk about the quietness of that, the personal journey of healing, because it's something that we have to go through as individuals. And so if Jacqueline's story has spoken to you, and if you've resonated with her story in some way, then I would really love to hear from you. And what part of her journey felt the most familiar to you? Please do leave your responses in the comments below. I think for me, the part about recognizing how personal healing is and how personal it can feel traveling through this sort of valley. I think that sticks with me the most. But as you travel through, don't forget that my free 5-day prayer journal is available to download for you. And if you like calming music, and if it's something that you would like as you journey through your healing to help calm you and to soothe you, then you can also check out my instrumental music albums. And you know what? For today, I think that I just want to remind you that your healing may be slow, but you are still healing. And just keep trusting in God, who is the one who walks beside you and beside me as we go through our valley. And lovely people, until the next time, may grace meet you exactly where you are. Thank you so much for joining me today to listen to Jacqueline's story. And please do come back again soon. I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to hearing about your own stories. And if you do have a story that you want to share, then please do reach out to me. My details are in the description below. So until the next time, take care.